Leviticus chapter 1. Now the Lord called Moses and spoke to him from the tabernacle of meeting, saying, Speak to the children of Israel, and say to them, If any of you offer a sacrifice to the Lord, he shall offer his sacrifice of cattle as of beasts. Speak to the children of Israel, and say to them, If any of you offer a sacrifice to the Lord, he shall offer his sacrifice of cattle as of beasts. If his sacrifice is a herring, burnt offering, he shall offer a male without blemishes, presenting him of his own free will at the door of the tabernacle of congregation before the Lord. He shall put his hand on the head of the burnt offering, and it shall be accepted before the Lord as his anointment. He shall kill the bullock before the Lord, and the priests, sons of Aaron, shall offer the blood and sprinkle it all around on the altar. It is at the door of the tabernacle of congregation. Then he will cut up the burnt offering and break it into pieces. The sons of Aaron, the priests, will put fire on the altar and arrange the wood in order on the fire. Then the sons of Aaron, the priests, shall arrange the parts in order, the head and the heart, on the wood that is in the fire and that is on the altar. But the entrails and the legs shall be washed with water, and the priest shall bury the whole on the altar, because it is a burnt offering, an oblation made by fire, for a sweet smelling to the Lord. If his sacrifice for the burnt offering is flocks of sheep or goats, he shall offer a male without blemish. He shall kill it on the north side of the altar before the Lord, and the sons of Aaron, the priests, shall sprinkle its blood all around on the altar. He will cut him into pieces, separating his head and his head, and the priest will arrange them in order on the wood lying in the fire that is on the altar. He shall wash the entrails and the legs with water, and the priest shall offer the whole thing and bury it on the altar, for it is a burnt offering, oblation made by fire for a sweet smell to the Lord. If his sacrifice is burnt offering to the Lord as of your fires, he shall offer his sacrifice of turtle dove or young pigeons. And the priest shall bring him to the altar, and break his neck, and bury him on the altar. And his blood shall be sprinkled on the side of the altar. Then he will sprinkle his mouth with balls, and throw them beside the altar to the east in the place of the ashes. He shall clean it with his wings, not dividing it, and the priest shall bury it on the altar, on the wood that is in the fire. For it is a burnt offering, an oblation made by fire for a sweet smell to the Lord. Chapter 2. When anyone offers a food offering to the Lord, his offering shall be of fine flour, and he shall sprinkle oil on it, and put incense on it. He shall bring it to Aaron the priest, Aaron's son, and he shall take a handful of flowers and oil from it, with all the frankincense, and the priest shall bury it as a memorial on the altar. For it is an offering made by fire to give a sweet aroma to the Lord. But the rest of the food offering shall be Aaron's and his sons, for it is the most holy of the Lord's offerings made by fire. If you also bring a baked food offering, it shall be a cake of fine flour mixed with oil, or a wafer anointed with oil. But if your food offering is an oblation of the frying pan, it will be of fine flour mixed with oil. You shall cut it into pieces and pour oil on it, for it is a food oblation. If your offering is an oblation made in the cauldron, it will be made of fine flour with oil. Then you shall take the oblation made of these things to the Lord, present it to the priest, and he shall bring it to the altar. And the priest shall take from the food offering a remembrance and bury it on the altar. For it's an oblation, he will offer its offering. That is an offering made by fire to the Lord. The fat dripping from the entrails and all the fat that is on the entrails, he shall also remove the 2 kidneys and the fat that is on them, the flanks and the meat that is on the liver with the kidneys. The priest shall bury them on the altar, as meat of an offering made by fire for a sweet savour. All the fat is the meat of an offering made by fire. All the fat is the Lord's. This shall be a perpetual ordinance for your generations, and all your dwellings, that you eat neither flesh nor blood, made by fire for a sweet smell for the Lord. But what remains of the food oblation shall be Aaron's and his sons, for it is the most holy of the oblation of the Lord, made by fire. All the oblations of food that you shall offer to the Lord shall be made without meat, for you shall not be able to bury meat or honor in any oblation of the Lord made by fire. In the oblation of the first fruits, you shall offer them to the Lord, but they shall not be burned on the altar as sweet perfume. Also all the oblations of food you shall season them with salt. You shall not allow the salt of the consent of your God to be lacking from your oblation of food. Put on all your oblations you shall offer salt. If thou then offer unto the Lord an offering of first fruits, thou shalt offer for the offering of first fruits ears of corn dried by the fire, and beaten corn from the green ears of corn. Now you shall put oil on it, and you shall place incense on it, for it is a food offering. The priest shall bury his remembrance, both beaten grain and the oil with all his incense, for it is an offering to the Lord made by fire. Chapter 3. Moreover, if his oblation is a peace offering, if he wants to offer of the drawi, both male and female, he shall offer before the Lord in a specimen without blemish. He shall put his hand on the head of his offering and kill it at the entrance to the tent of meeting. The priests, Aaron's sons, shall sprinkle the blood on the altar of all around. He shall then offer part of the peace offerings as a fire sacrifice to the Lord, that is, the fat dripping from the entrails and all the fat that is on the entrails. He shall also take away the 2 kidneys, the fat that is on them and on the sides, and the meat that is on the sides with its kidneys. And Aaron's sons shall bury him on the altar, together with the burnt offering that is on the wood that is on the fire. This is a sacrifice made by fire to give a sweet smell to the Lord. Moreover, if his oblation is a peace offering to the Lord from your flock, whether male or female, he shall offer it without blemish. If he offers a lamb as an oblation, he will bring it before the Lord. He shall lay his hand on the head of the lamb. He shall kill it before the tabernacle of meeting, and the sons of Aaron shall sprinkle its blood all around on the altar. After the peace offering, he shall offer to the Lord a burnt offering. He shall take fat that is inside. He shall also remove the 2 kidneys, with the fat covering them, and the flanks, and the meat on the side, with the kidneys. Then the priest shall bury it on the altar as the meat of an offering made by fire to the Lord. If his offering is a kid, he shall offer it to the Lord, and he shall put it on his head, and he shall kill it before the tent of meeting. And Aaron's son shall sprinkle its blood on the altar all around. Chapter 4. The Lord spoke again to Moses, saying, Speak to the children of Israel, saying, If anyone through ignorance sins in one of the commands of the Lord, which are not to be done, but acts contrary to one of them, if the priest who has been anointed sins according to the sin of the people, then he shall offer to the Lord for the sin he has committed a heifer without blemish as a sin offering. He shall bring the heifer up to the wall of the tabernacle of meeting before the Lord, put his hand on the head of the heifer, and kill the heifer before the Lord. The anointed priest shall take the blood of the heifer and bring it into the tent of the meeting. The priest shall dip his finger in the blood and sprinkle it 7 times before the Lord, in front of the vault of the sanctuary. The priest shall also put some of the blood before the Lord on the horns of the altar of sweet incense, which is in the tent of meeting. Then he shall sprinkle all the rest of the blood of the bullock on the fote of the altar of the burnt offerings, which is at the end of the tent of meeting. He shall take of all the fat of the bull for the offense of sin, that is, the fat that is on the inside and all the fat that is around the inside. He shall also take of 2 kids' knees and the fat that is on them, and the sides, and the meat that is on the side with the kidneys, as was taken of the heifer of the peace offerings. And the priest shall bury them on the altar of burnt offerings. But the skin of the heifer and all its flesh, with its head, its legs, its entrails, and its dung, shall be taken out. Then they shall carry the whole oxen out of the host to a clean place, where the ashes are in dust, and bury it on the wood in the fire. Where the ashes have been thrown in, it shall be burned. If the whole congregation of Israel sins through ignorance, the thing is hidden from the eyes of the crowd, they have done something against the commandments of the Lord that are not to be done, and they have offended, when it shall be known the sin which they have committed, the congregation shall offer a heifer for sin, and bring it before the tabernacle of congregation. And the elders of the congregation shall put their hands on the head of the bullock before the Lord, and they shall kill the bullock before the Lord. Then the anointed priest shall bring the blood of the bullock into the tent of meeting, and the priest shall dip his finger in the blood and sprinkle it 10 times before the Lord, even before the vessel. He shall also put some of the blood on the horns of the altar that is before the Lord, and that is in the tent of meeting. Then he shall pour all the rest of the blood on the base of the altar of burnt offerings that is at the end of the tent of meeting. He shall take all his fat and bury it on the altar. And the priest shall do with this bull as did with the bull for his sin. So shall he do with this one. So the priest shall make anointment for them. They shall be forgiven. For he shall load the bullock out of the host and bury it as a burnt the first bullock, for it's an anointment for the sin of the congregation. When a ruler sins and does ignorance one of the commands of the Lord his God, which is not to be done, and commits a trespass, if one reveals to him his sin, which he has committed, he shall bring forth sacrifice, a goat without blemish. And he shall lay his hand on the head of the goat and kill it in the place where he must kill the stake before the Lord, because it is a sinful offense. Then the priest shall take the blood of the sinful offense with his finger, and he shall put it on the horns of the altar of burnt offerings, and pour out the rest of its blood on the base of the altar of burnt offerings. And he shall bury all his fat on the altar, as the fat of the peace offering. So the priest shall make anointment for him concerning his sin, and he shall be forgiven. Likewise, if one of them inhabitants of the land sins through ignorance in doing something contrary to one of the Lord's commands, which is not to be done, and he commits a trespass, if one discloses to him his sin which he has committed, he shall bring as a sacrifice a goat without blemish for his sin which he has committed. And he shall lay his hand on the head of the goat that committed the sin. And he shall kill the goat at the place of the burnt offering. Then the priest shall take its blood with his finger and put it on the horns of the altar of the burnt offerings, and sprinkle all the rest of the blood on the base of the altar. And he shall remove all his fat, as one removes the fat of peace offerings, and the priest shall bury him on the altar as a sweet homage to the Lord. And the priest shall make anointment for him, and he shall be forgiven. If he brings a lamb for his sacrifice, he shall bring a female without blemish. And he shall lay his hand on the head of the lamb for sin, and shall kill it for sin, in the place where he should have killed the burnt lamb. Then the priest shall take with his finger the blood of the sinful offense, and shall put it on the horns of the altar of the burnt offense, and shall sprinkle the rest of the blood on the base of the altar. He shall take off all the fat of it, as one takes off the fat of the lambs of the peace offerings. Then the priest shall bury it on the altar with the oblation of the Lord made by fire. And the priest shall make anointment for him, for the sin he has committed. It shall be forgiven him. Chapter 5. Moreover, if one has sinned, that is, if he has heard the testimony of another and can bear witness to it, whether he has seen it or has knowledge of it, if he does not bear witness to it, he shall bear his iniquity. If one touches an unclean thing, be it an unclean carcass of cattle, or an unclean carcass of cattle, or an unclean carcass of unclean creepers, and does not notice it, he nevertheless unclean has committed an offense. If, on the other hand, he touches an uncleanness of man, whether uncleanness within which he has defiled himself and is not aware of it, after becoming aware of it, he has sinned. If one swears and pronounces with his lips to do good or to do good, whichever uncleanness a man pronounces with another, and it is concealed from him, and afterwards he becomes aware that he has committed an offense in any of these points, if he had sinned in any of these things, he shall confess that he has sinned in it. Therefore he shall bring to the Lord his offering for the sin he has committed, that is, a female from your flock, whether a lamb or a goat, as a sin offering, and the priest shall make an ointment for him concerning his sin. But if he is not able to bring a sheep, he shall bring 2 turtle doves or 2 young pigeons, one for an ointment for sin, and the other for an ointment for burning to the Lord for his sin. He shall bring them to the priest, who shall first offer the sacrifice for sin, and shall break his neck, not detaching it. And he will sprinkle the blood of the sin offering on the side of the altar, and the rest of the blood will be sprinkled on the base of the altar. Because it is a sin offering, he shall also offer the second as a burnt offering, as was done, so the priest shall make an ointment for him, for the sin he had committed, and it shall be forgiven him. But if he is not able to bring 2 turtle doves or 2 young pigeons, he who committed the sin shall bring for his offering to the 10th part of an ephah of fine flour as a sin offering. He shall not put any oil in it, nor shall he put any incense in it, for it is a sin offering. Then he shall bring it to the priest, and the priest shall take a handful of it as a reminder, and shall bury it on the altar with the Lord's offering made by fire, for it is a sin offering. So the priest shall make an ointment for him, concerning the sin which he committed in one of these pits, and it shall be forgiven him. And the remnant shall be the priest's, as the food offering. The Lord spoke to Moses, saying, If anyone transgresses and sins through ignorance, taking away things consecrated to the Lord, he shall bring to the Lord as compensation for his guilt a ram without blemish from the flock, or 2 shekels of silver, according to your estimation, according to the shekel of the sanctuary, as compensation for his guilt. So he shall restore what he has offended, taking away the holy thing, and shall add to it the 5th part and give it to the priest. So the priest shall make an ointment for him with the ram of his guilt, and it shall be forgiven him. Moreover, if anyone sins and acts against one of the commands of the Lord, which is not to be done, and does not know, he sins and bears his iniquity. Then he shall bring it to the priest a ram without blemish from the flock, of the value of 2 shekels, for an offense of guilt, and the priest shall make an ointment for him, for the ignorance in which he erred, and did not know, so it shall be forgiven him. This is an ointment for guilt committed against the Lord.